Welcome, everybody, to your WWE Summerslam 2024 preview and predictions. John, how many matches are on this card? Is it still five? I feel like five's the usual, but it was probably going to be a longer show, so what is it, like seven?
It feels like 7, partner, because let's see. Oh god, this is where we're gonna try and count off, and
It's
then we're gonna get
seven.
stuck on
It's
one.
seven.
It is 7? Okay, okay.
I pulled up the Wikipedia while you were concerned, worried, and I figured I just looked. It's just right there.
Yeah,
Here's the interesting thing, though. It's
yeah.
seven matches, but most specifically, it's literally just seven straight up singles matches, six of which are for championships.
That's the kinda card I like, brother. I gotta be honest.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
this is a seven match card with 12 competitors competing. Or
Yeah,
I
well,
fucked up the math on there. With 14 competitors, I should have said 12 competitors competing for titles. That would have actually been accurate. But with 14 competitors competing overall, yeah, literally, it's just two people in every match. It's 1v1 across the board.
yeah, wow. That's, I like that. That's a card I think that speaks to, like, economy. It's purposeful, because my biggest complaint, I have a lot of complaints about AEW, obviously, but to stay on task, my complaint about their pay-per-views, way too long and
Yeah.
way too much stuff going on. This is a big 4 show, and it still feels economical as fuck. That's
Yeah.
great.
And here's the cool thing, too, is that they've added matches. In other words, when I say that, what I'm saying is the last few PLEs have only been five match cards. And
Yeah.
they've been under 3 hours, I believe. For at least I'm pretty sure they all have been. I'm gonna look on our channel, WWE Live Reactions, and let's see. So Money in the Bank was 3 hours and 8 minutes, and I think Extreme Rules was 251. So rather than saying that they've been under 3 hours, what I should really say is that they've all been around 3 hours, give or take, right?
Right, right, right.
This show has two more matches on it, but it's also starting an hour earlier. So, given that the usual WWE PLE this year has gone for around 3 hours, give or take, that also means that they've been ending around 11 p.m., which is nice for us. This one will too, because it's also starting an hour earlier. And I love
Yeah.
that.
I dude, I love just the presentation, in that way. It's like, hey, look, we're gonna do meaningful match cards, not really much, if any, fluff, and you're gonna get out at a nice time because people have to work the next day, or they just have plans, or whatever. I think they're really in a groove. They're really starting to get like how things should work, and this and that. And yeah, I really appreciate that. I guess to get into the next gear for our preview predictions, you know how I like to start. You're looking at this match card, you're surveying everything. Let's talk about hype levels. I would say, given the whole card, I'm liking a lot of the long form stories. I had a great conversation with you and your mom last night that touched on a lot of wrestling, and then it veered into a lot of silly, wonderful nonsense. But I said that Raw, I think, is my favorite wrestling program going right now, and that
Yes.
includes even the Joshi stuff. I think Raw's long form stories, they resonate with me. I'm
Hmm.
really enjoying the writing. And my three most anticipated matches at SummerSlam, um, we've got Braun, Sammy, 2 for the Intercontinental title. That just from a pure wrestling standpoint, I thought they killed it at Money in the Bank, and I still think they can have a better match here. Um, Punk Drew obviously fits in that long form story category. And Rhea Liv, again, fits the bill. So 2 out of the 3 matches I'm looking forward to most have that long form attribute to them. And all 3 matches are on the Raw brand, which shows you how much I've been loving Raw. So looking at that, I do think the SmackDown side's a bit, actually, not even a bit, quite a bit weaker. So looking at that in aggregate, I would say I'm looking forward to the show. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I think the Raw side's really good. Really, really good. SmackDown side's a bit weak, but I can get over it. So I think 8 out of 10 is a respectable and judicious score. How hyped are you for this show, man?
I'm gonna go a little bit lower than you, because I think for me there are definitely matches on this card that I am looking forward to. But it's purely like story driven. Like there isn't a single match on this show that I think has match of the year potential, honestly. The closest would be Zane Breaker, but even that is like I don't really know if Braun Breaker is like a match of the year guy yet.
Yeah,
Um, but if anyone can do it, it's Sammy, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I think I'm gonna settle in at a 7 out of 10. Actually, normally I'm a half point lower than you. This time I'm a full point lower than you. Because like the priest gun, it's funny because I've been hyped to a degree, but I definitely feel a certain degree of pessimism about a lot of the results on this show. Like Priest Gunther, if Gunther wins, I just how the optics are so bad.
I know,
And then
I
like
know.
Bailey Nia, I feel like Nia's winning for sure because I feel like they're gonna bring back Charlotte because I'm at the point that like who's left for Bailey to beat now? Like Bailey as champion has been a massive disappointment, but also they drafted all of her best opponents from SmackDown onto Raw. So who's left for her to beat? And it's not like they're gonna have Tiffany cash in. She literally just got a brand new briefcase tonight on SmackDown, so they're not gonna have her have this brand new customized briefcase for one day and then cash it in right away. So that's not happening. So I think Nia's just winning here. I apologize for giving that away earlier. We're doing preview predictions here. We might as well start with that match since I just gave it away anyway. But to continue though, I am like just negative overall that a lot of people who I'm hoping won't win just will win anyway, and it's disappointing.
Yeah, you know what, dude? I can understand that. I can understand that. I think, yeah, I look at the results of some of these cards. I am hoping for some results, obviously. I honestly, I don't know if this is me being too bitter. I know sometimes on here I can be a bit extra, and sometimes I enjoy, but other times I really do want to be serious. I still feel a bit jaded how they've done Gunther Priest. You know, I
Yeah.
really have been. I mean, you know, dude. I mean, you know better than anybody. I've always come up here. I have always stand Gunther. I've always sung his praises. Um, I have a bit to say about that match. Honestly, I'm almost kind of waiting for our review just to see the whole thing in aggregate because I was even thinking today, like, how could you have gotten Gunther Heat? And I came up with one idea that I think was somewhat better, but I mean, let's be honest, anything's better than full blown racism. And honestly, like, I'm even more tolerable of classism in wrestling because normally the classist does get their comeuppance. Like Teddy DiBiase got humiliated by Virgil, you know, lost $1 million championship. And JBL, who once told John Cena, your mother laid on her back to pay for the groceries, lost his fucking WWE title after a dominant reign at WrestleMania 21 to John Cena. So, like, I don't even mind a little bit of classism because the rich asshole or the culture asshole usually gets their comeuppance, right? But racism to me, like that's a hard line. You should never ever have to fucking go there. And obviously you should fucking lose if that's the case. And that's another problem because they don't usually. So yeah, let's just actually get into this card because I can tell that we have a lot to say. You wanted to start with Nia Bailey. I respect that. So let's talk about it. So you just think that Nia's winning. Do you have anything else you want to say about that before I guess I just kind of give my thoughts?
No, well, again, like I mentioned, I feel like Bailey doesn't have anyone left to face as champion, and Super Blue is in chat, and he might be the only one watching right now. And he said Bianca, Jade, and my only thought is, are they going to turn heel? Because Bailey literally just turned face in I think like February, and they're not going to do Bailey against another face. They're going to keep Bailey facing heels, I would imagine. So in order for her to defend against either of those two women, they would have to turn heel. Naomi is also a face, and like they might do like a respectful, like, oh yeah, I'll defend the title against you, and we'll have an honorable fight or whatever. But like, there's no real story behind that. Who are the heels on SmackDown? Like female heels on SmackDown.
Yeah, because you got Nia, you got Tiffany.
Even Michin recently showed up to help Bailey, aligning herself as a face.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult, man, because I really don't know. I just know Nia and
Are they
Tiffany
gonna
are
do? Are they
definitely
gonna do a program with Blair? Are we gonna do Bailey Blair already? It feels early for Blair
that feels
considering.
really rushed. And didn't
Yeah,
Naomi beat Blair recently? So Blair
I'm
has like
saying
no
like
momentum.
that's kind of like my why I'm bringing her up though because she feels like the next most credible heel woman on the SmackDown roster at this point.
I just want to piggyback off of what you've been saying and just throw my 2 cents in on something real quick for hopefully the final time because I know I've already made this point. But while I'm speaking of things that I'm jaded about, you know, WWE's writing has stepped up so much. I can't believe we never got to see that writing in action with a Bailey Bianca program. It was right there, dude. I can't believe we're almost probably going to get to this reign without Bailey and Bianca addressing their issues like substantively. Because
Yeah,
I really was fascinated by that aspect of Bianca's character. And you and I stood by her the whole time. We
yeah,
said as a character, she has every right to feel this way. She is not a heel. She is justifiably suspicious because somebody's trying to make change because that's life. You can have addicts try and get clean, and the people that they burned, it's like I'm happy for you, but I can't. I can't because the memory of who you were was too strong. Bad people that reform all the time go through this shit. It would have been fascinating to me to see Bailey go through that with Bianca of like, I see that you're trying to make change, but I just can't let go of who you were. And I'm never gonna trust you. And more than that, you're the champion and you took that title everybody kind of conspired to take that title from me, and you benefited from that title being taken from me. I want it back. The idea that we didn't do that story and give Bianca, and I love Bianca. This is not a diss of her, but this would have given such depth to her character that I like to leave that on the table. I cannot begin to tell you. And it would have given depth to Bailey too, because it's like
yeah.
everybody just
That's
accepted her as a face. And like
yeah,
I love Bailey and she's a sweetheart, but like as a character, I can't keep
right.
stressing that enough.
Yeah,
Where's the journey? Where's the, I did some really messed up shit, even going back to when I destroyed my own Bailey buddies. Like, what drove me to do this? What makes me tick? Why now? Why am I done with it now? Why am I walking away from the like? I don't know. I think now the problem we're facing is I am loving WWE so much right now that it does necessarily make me raise my standard of what writing can be. I want more psychology in the writing, not in the sense of like in-ring psychology, but like studying these characters. I want to study the in fact, the best people doing that right now are the Wyatt Six. Because we have gotten looks at Rowan and Bo Dallas that are like brought me to fucking tears. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, do that with Bailey and Bianca. I can't believe they just passed it up. So yeah, I just want to say that too to
right.
kind of your point, like who's left for Bailey. Bianca should have been one of the seminal stories of her title reign, and they never did it. And I'm always going to be
No,
pissed
dude,
about that.
Bailey has felt like she's been on the back burner ever since that turn. Ever since she yeah, left damage control and told them basically that she was aware that they were talking shit about her the whole time and challenged Io at Mania. Ever since that segment, she has felt like she's been on the back burner. It really is unfortunate, but now they're going to put the title on Nia. We might get a rematch against Bailey coming up at Bash in Berlin because Bailey is going to be super over. She's always super over with crowds outside of the U.S. Um, and especially as a chaser at that point, they're going to want her to win that title back real bad. I fully expect Nia to just retain though. And I'm fully expecting for the next big program for that title to be Nia versus Charlotte, Queen versus Queen.
Yeah. Oh man, that makes so much sense. And let me ask you, because I don't know if you already said this. I'm just trying to get my ducks in a row to see whether I'm going to co-sign with you or whether I'm just going to go a different way. You think this is going to culminate in Tiffany versus Charlotte at Mania, or do you think they do that match beforehand?
That would not surprise me at all. I hadn't really thought about it that far ahead.
Because yeah,
I just feel like
yeah,
Bailey is getting shafted at every turn. Um,
yeah,
I was honestly not even fully convinced that she was going to win the title at Mania, so I was stoked that she did. But
yeah.
even now, even though she did in fact win the title at Mania, ever since then, it still feels like she is like the sixth or seventh most important champion in WWE, despite being a technically a world champion. She's a world champion, and yet she feels less important than either of the men's world champions, either of the men's mid card champions on the main roster. She definitely feels less important than the Raw women's world champion. Like she just does not feel like she is made to be all that important at all. She feels barely more important than the tag titles at this point. I mean, shit, the SmackDown tag titles just got put on one of the most important stories going right now, so she's probably right now, like as of the current moment, even below them in terms of importance.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with you, man. It's a shame because Bailey is not a bad worker by any stretch of the fucking imagination, and yet I feel like the title felt more prestigious when it was on Io. But I don't think that's Bailey's fault. I think it's entirely on the writing and the booking.
Well,
It,
yeah,
it's
no, of
yeah.
course, that's what I'm saying.
No, I know. I'm just saying I agree with you. I agree with you because I'm just thinking back to like the previous champion who was Io, and I'm like, yeah, I really do feel like it's worse now for the title, and by proxy Bailey because she's the champion. Like, no, I agree with you completely. Um, I gotta be honest, man. I look at your logic as airtight. I was fully coming in here ready to say that Bailey's gonna retain against Nia, and then Tiffany was gonna cash in, and then but then you said she got the new briefcase, so I don't know unless that's a swerve, in which case like I roll. Because my whole thing was, and I've been saying this for a while, so I do feel like this is a consistent point on my end. I've been saying how crowds have been loving Tiffany and how she's going to be a babyface, like a top babyface, even for SmackDown. So I thought she'd cash in on Bailey. Nia would be really mad and fucking pissy about it because, oh, you were only able to do that because I solved her up for you. I made one mistake and it cost me the title. And if I would have won, you wouldn't have had, the courage to cash in. And then we would do like a Nia Tiffany story with Tiffany as the fucking babyface.
Right.
But you know what? While I could still see that happening in some universe, it might be too soon right now, given everything you've said and laid out. So I am gonna agree with you that Nia just wins. We let the rain breathe a little bit, and then maybe a Tiffany babyface turn comes out of this. So because they're gonna want to make her a face eventually. I am convinced of that. So
I mean, you say
yeah.
we let the brain breathe a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Nia lost that title within like 4 months of winning it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a super long reign. When I do say breathe a little bit, I actually am thinking like a 3-4 month
Yeah.
kind of reign. So yeah, no, I think we're still in agreement there. I'm just gonna co-sign with you that Nia wins.
Okay. All right, then let's oh god, let's talk about the match with two people we don't like in it. Uh we can talk about the US title match. We've got transphobic alt-right piece of shit Logan Paul, scam artist, fraud, getting sued by how many people now, defending the US title against someone that we know is a misogynist piece of shit, LA Knight. This is great. This fucking sucks.
Yeah, I love this in my wrestling. Garbage people getting big time pushes on major fucking platforms. Um, this is why I stand Kevin Owens, everybody. If Kevin Owens was US champion, none of this would have happened. I'm just
This
saying.
is why I stand Sami Zayn. He is the Intercontinental Champion. He is killing it, both with that title and just as a person in general.
I know. Jesus Christ. Fuck them both. But
Yes.
I will say fuck Logan Paul significantly more. I mean, this guy. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I think LA just wins. Then you get a full-time guy with the US title that's as over as he is, whether we like it or not.
This
And the
feels like the right time to actually do a proper coronation for LA Knight. Like there have been times before where they kind of teased like they were going to do it. And you and I have always been like, yeah, right, he's not going to win it. It's not going to happen. This feels like the time it's going to happen.
No, I completely agree with you. I definitely think you're on point. I feel the same way. I think we always knew that this push was coming, and I'll give WWE credit. If you have to push him, which I get why you would feel that way based on crowd reaction, this is a nice spot for him. The mid card titles, I think, feel like more worth more than they did even 5 years ago. They're in a good place right now, and I honestly think, as much as I hate to say it, LA Knight, just with how over he is, will elevate that US championship. And again, it's just a more consistent guy on there. And the best thing about this, which makes it tolerable, is I know Super Blue would be happy. And Super Blue, he's been a tried and true fan of the show. We appreciate him. And so I'd really love for him to get this moment. I know you would too. So for Super Blue, I'll lock in LA Knight.
Same.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Next
So
matchup.
let's see. We've got 5 matches left. 4 of them are for titles. Do we want to talk about the one non-title match left, Drew and Punk?
Yes, please go first on this, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, okay. This is one of the matches that I'm kind of down about going into the show because CM Punk is in it.
Yeah.
That's literally it. I mean, if this was Drew versus Seth, I'd be stoked. But because CM Punk is involved, I can't be excited about this match because CM Punk has not wrestled a match that I've been excited about since like 2013, 14, something like that. It's literally been over a decade. I can honestly, legitimately, sincerely say that accurately, even. CM Punk is unathletic and frail, and I am worried about several elements of this match going wrong. The most of which is just that he's going to end up injuring himself, or he's going to do something, or Drew is going to do something that's going to lead to him getting injured somehow, and the match is going to have to get called off, and this whole feud is going to end up getting put on the back burner again for however many months it takes for his old ass to recover from his injury. Another concern I have is literally just the idea that like he's on his bullshit politically and he's just going to politic his way into a win. Even though if you look at these guys side by side, you're like, oh yeah, well clearly the guy that looks like fucking Zeus should beat the shit out of that fucking Starbucks barista. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like there there are really only two acceptable outcomes here to me. Okay. Yeah, no, two acceptable outcomes here to me. Either Drew wins, I don't care how, or Punk cheats and makes it clear that he is a heel in order to win. Those are the only two acceptable outcomes in my mind. If Punk wins this match and it is not via heelish tactics, you lost me. You just lost me. There's no believability in that at all.
Uh, okay, partner. So I'm going to begin by responding directly to the tail end of what you just said. Be prepared for them to lose you, because I don't see that happening. Because that final confrontation they had on Raw, I had stream issues, so thankfully WWE's YouTube channel uploaded the full segment. Which, by the way, side note, I do love that WWE does that with their programming as well. They've
Yeah.
been uploading either full segments or even full matches from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Kind of rope people in, helps me a lot in case my stream's bugging, and I think it's just a great way to get new fans. But anyway, I watched it in full, like uninterrupted, and at the end, Drew once again shoves that bracelet in Punk's face. Punk, I really think it's just going to be looking like he is going to overcome Drew. If anything, I think this is going to branch off to Drew and Seth feuding again. And I enjoy their work together, but I actually kind of like that Drew gave Seth his props when Seth was away recovering and Drew was still pursuing the world title. He's like, we shared a moment in this ring that only warriors know about. And I thank you for that. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's different. But now I feel like it's going to venture into your buy the numbers, like, oh, I hate you. You screwed me out of beating CM Punk. Everybody's always screwing me. But like Punk is going to get away scot free because he hates Seth. They didn't ask him for help. He even said in the promo, like, I do not want your help. I do not need your help. This is personal for me. Like, I'm going to handle it. So I don't think Punk is turning heel right now. Part of the big wrestling discussion I had with you and your mom last night, I do think Punk needs to turn heel at some point in this run because it's the only time that I'll find him even remotely tolerable, if not even entertaining. You already know my big theory about him maybe one day being the leader of the Judgment Day. That's all on record. But I don't think any of that happens here. I unfortunately think that Punk wins, but I do want to say that you could copy paste your entire breakdown of this because I'm the same way. Because, dude, not only that Punk just looks like he does, he's also, and I say this with full malice, fucking old. And like when you look at a guy like Drew who's conditioned out of his fucking mind, I think I said to your mom that like if Punk got Claymored, he should turn even if he got no, I think I said if he got chopped even by Drew, he should turn to dust. He looks fragile as fuck. He's not athletic. He's proven that multiple fucking times. Drew should eat him and shit out the fucking bones into a throne for him to sit on in front of his weeping fucking family. That's how dominant Drew should be in this. And it's not going to happen. The moment that this match, and dude, I swear to God, because I've thought about this, I don't think it will, but if this match opens with a fucking lockup, I will die laughing because this needs to be a fight. The idea that this isn't even like an unsanctioned match, which I know we've had a few unsanctioned matches the last couple of years. If they would have said like this has gotten so personal it's unsanctioned, I would have been more hyped for that, and I would have been like, you know what, that makes sense because these guys
I
hate
feel
each
like
other
this is
so
the
much.
type of match where it opens with Drew hitting a Claymore right out the gate. Punk kicks out, and then Drew gets into an argument with Seth over the count.
Yeah, and see, I hate that, and I think that's very plausible, and that's why I hate it. Um, yeah, I mean, this should be a squash. In any
Yeah,
sensible
it
universe, this
should
should be
be.
a
It
squash.
should be. But Punk's ego will never allow that to happen ever.
I I really hate him. It's a shame because I've even gone back and I've watched some of his 2011 stuff, the Summer of Punk, and I'm like, man, I don't even feel bad for loving him back then because he was genuinely good, but now he just feels like some crotchety boomer that like can't get out of his own way. It's so funny that everybody's like, this story is about Drew's obsession, and I can very plainly see that, but like. He even admits how much of a shit stirrer he is in this and that. So like I don't know. And like
I
I
don't understand how
yeah,
people can say that this story is about Drew's obsession
yeah.
when Punk is the one that went out of his way to screw Drew time after time after time. Like, I can understand needing to pay for your crime, but like, shouldn't the punishment fit the crime?
Yeah, this is going beyond being disproportionate. Not to
Yeah.
mention, can we just remind everybody too? Because I know you and I, again, we always take more of a political bent and a psychological bent with like how we look at wrestling sometimes. I have never liked that, like, part of this. Like Michael Cole's line on commentary, like, still kind of sits in me in the most sour way. Nothing against Cole, but when he's like, oh, Drew just didn't give CM Punk a chance. Again, people, if you have a really negative and even like outright traumatic experience with someone, and maybe it's been like many years, I don't care if 10, 20 years pass and they're like, oh, I've changed. You don't have to give them a chance if you don't want to. Don't fuck with them. Don't become the monster, right? But just go and live your life without them. If Drew was like, oh, you're a piece of shit, don't apologize to me, and then or like you never even apologized to me, and then Punk doubles down, which he did because Punk just feels like he's never wrong about anything. And Drew is just like, well, I need to get him out because he's a cancer. I don't blame him for that. He doesn't owe Punk like, oh, I'm gonna give you this chance. He's like, no, like you screwed me back then when I was young and new to the business and went behind the ears. Now I'm the veteran. Now I'm like more of a locker room leader than you are. I'm not gonna let you do this. I don't see how this guy has been so vilified. And some of the writing on this, while I've appreciated it in some parts, in other parts, it really leaves me scratching my head. Like again, Punk impersonating a referee. How is there no consequences for that? Like Drew even brings up to Pierce in character. Oh, he doesn't even get fined for impersonating an official. Yeah, like that's a legitimate fucking question. Answer the man's question. And so, yeah, I feel like this writing has been way too favorable to Punk and hasn't made him more ambiguous morally. I'm not even saying you have to make him the villain. I believe he's the villain, but I'm realistic. You don't have to make him the villain, but just make him more ambiguous. The idea that they have stood by Punk the entire time, like the writing has stood by Punk the entire time, to me is just lazy and really perplexing. I think Punk wins. I agree with you. I really wanted to be more economical on my side because I think you said everything originally so perfectly, but I just really had to dwell on like how the writing it's been hit or miss. It's definitely had its misses and it's definitely left me with some questions. And I really don't know where the feud goes from here. I just think Seth gets more enveloped in it, and then I don't know what the end game is. But yeah, Punk wins, unfortunately. So what's the next matchup?
I don't think I ever made an official prediction for this one. What was yours?
Just Punk wins.
I'm gonna say Drew wins. Um, Maybe it's more of just a wishful thinking thing, but I think it's entirely possible that it's because of Seth, and I'm willing to accept that. But and you know what?
Let
I would even be willing to accept if Seth is the reason that whoever wins wins. I'm fine with that. My hands are washed clean. They know that they don't lose me if Seth is like the driving force behind the winner here. I'm fine with that because if it's Drew, he's more heelish anyway. Any means possible, whatever. If it's Punk, that's more of a heelish win for him. He kind of cheated to win in a way, even if it wasn't intentional. I'm fine with that too.
I know you don't really care like for fantasy booking, and I don't mean to like take it there, but I do want to ask you a follow-up question.
Sure.
Like, if Drew wins and it's because of Seth, do you in your mind believe it just branches off then to a Punk Seth feud? Because Punk told Seth adamantly, I don't want your help, and Punk could perceive that he had Seth's
No,
help. You
I
don't
don't.
think
I
so?
don't think it's just going to be Punk Seth. I think that Punk's going to continue to want to prevent Drew from winning titles.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because, I mean, Bad Blood is around the corner. I still think we could get a Hell in a Cell match between these two. I don't know how
Exactly.
Punk
Yep.
would
It would
survive
be a
it, but
triple threat.
like
We would just do a triple threat.
that would be
Has there
crazy.
ever
Because
been a
yeah,
triple threat Hell in a Cell before?
not that I'm aware of.
There you go. First ever. Boom.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to get in your mind space about that. Because, yeah, I mean, obviously this is going to have reverberations, and I'm just wondering what the aftermath is going to be. So we'll see.
I do think that it might be more likely that Seth helps Punk win, whether it's intentional or not, because Drew is way more of a hothead, and Drew would be wanting to go after them and want both of them in the cell because he would feel like he could destroy both of them in the cell by himself.
Yeah, kill two birds with one cell. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Punk's ego is like out to fucking Neptune, and he probably has himself convinced that he could take them both on at the same time too, even though he probably couldn't couldn't even take Drew on by himself. Couldn't take either one of them on by himself realistically. But I think Drew they actively work on portraying Drew as a hothead, whereas with Punk, even though in real life he's more of a hothead, kayfabe wise, he's not really portrayed that way quite as much.
Right, right, right. All right.
So let's
Yeah.
move on. We have 4 matches left. I guess let's talk about the only other one that's really upsetting. Priest Gunther.
Yeah, they ruined this for me. God damn it.
I'm just gonna fuck it and Priest retains. I'm gonna pick Priest to retain. Wishful thinking bullshit all the way because honestly, this feels like Triple H. If you make this same mistake again 20 years later, Jesus Christ, man, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I think he might be about to. I see, because like, let's take Gunther and Priest and like their matchup specifically out of the picture for a second, and let's refocus on the Judgment Day as a whole. Because I feel like some seismic shit is about to happen with this faction on this show. Because we
Oh
know,
fuck, you're right. Yeah, shit.
because we know Rhea Liv is happening, and I don't want to jump the gun. I know we do things in an orderly fashion,
Yeah.
but I think just being ambiguous for now, you and I can agree, shit's probably gonna go down in that match, right? Uh,
Well,
so
not
I
only
don't
that,
know.
but if you listened to what Finn said in the locker room before the main event Monday,
Yeah.
he was super sus. Like if we were playing Among Us, I would have ejected his ass.
Yeah.
Because he said something about like, let's wait until after SummerSlam and then we will. I don't remember the exact phrase that he used, but it was something along the lines of like, get our shit together and dominate as a team or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
But just the wording of like, let's wait till after SummerSlam made me feel like they, and by they, I mean like the rest of Judgment Day, excluding Rhea and Damian, had a plan that they were going to enact at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. Fuck.
And then that and then that Bash at Berlin show, like just the image of Gunther coming home with the world title. I don't know if Triple
I
H wants to
wanted him
leave
to
it
win
on
it
the table.
at Bash in Berlin, though, not win it before then. Fuck.
I know, but it's still a big four, so Triple H is probably thinking this is a huge deal for him. I wanted this for Gunther so bad. Again, like I wanted to share this on the SummerSlam review, and I think I still will, but I've really been thinking about like, is there any way we could have gotten here that would have been better than just again over racism? Even if you kept a bit of the classism, which honestly I think befits the Gunther character, racism I don't think does, at least overtly. Like the
I
aesthetic,
mean,
yes,
they,
Nazi,
even on the
but
kickoff today, they went out of their way to really emphasize that Gunther made it about class. Like they're trying really hard to avoid talking about race at all.
yeah.
But like, it's still kind of a
Well, yeah, because I mean, when you look at how systems are designed, sometimes race and class are inextricably linked
thing. Mm-hmm.
because, like, white supremacy is going to make sure that black people live in, worse off communities
Yeah. I mean, we
sociologically.
can't just pretend that policies like redlining didn't exist,
Exactly.
which
Exactly.
inextricably links, you know, class and race together.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, yeah, it just, God damn it. No, I was so looking forward to this. I like, dude, and I know when I'm hype and when you're hype, that's when reactions are best because it's fucking reacting. And
Yeah.
I was ready to lose my fucking mind for this world title match, bro. It was gonna be one of those matches where every move by Gunther, I was turned the fuck up. And now I just feel like I can't do it because it would just be like being like, yeah, racism. And it's like, no, no, ew, gross. What the fuck? So yeah, my heart wants Priest to retain, but my head, which I seldom use, but I really have to use here, just thinks Gunther's gonna win. And I hate that I'm saying it in that tone. I should have never said that sentence in that tone. And it's your fucking fault, Hunter. It's your fucking fault. God damn it. Just wanted to love Gunther till the end of time because I'm so inspired by his story. Dude didn't even want to come here. He was like, "Oh, I'm happy making a living in Germany," and he goes to the U.S. and he fucking breaks the bank, like beats the fucking house, untouchable. Marries the love of his life, has a beautiful family. I'm like, oh my god, this is like if you ever want to do U.S. propaganda, there's Gunther right there, American dream right there. And then you go and you put racism in his fucking mouth on top of an already Nazi aesthetic that people were always sus about. God damn it. Fucking hate this. I will say, to get some positivity in here, I want for maybe possibly the final time to really commend Priest on his world title reign. This dude carried himself so fucking well as world champion. I think, he really acted the part. I liked his promos. They were serious. He really believed, I think, in what he was saying. I think he's a solid competitor in the ring. I've thought that for a long time. You know, because look, I'll be one of the ones that I was always worried, like, who's going to come after Seth? He's done such a great job with that title. What do you do? How do you navigate that? Whatever. But I think Priest did a phenomenal job with what he was given. And I am so sorry to him if it ends this way, because he didn't deserve to lose to a character who was made to be racist for fucking cheap heat. So that's really all I got to say about that. If there's anything you want to add, you can. If not, I'm ready to move on.
All right, so we've got, I think we're down to 4 matches left. We've got Liv, Rhea, Cody Solo. Oh, it's three, and then Sammy Braun. So I'll let you pick which one of those you want to talk about first.
Bro, I'm honestly good talking about Liv Real last because that
Yeah.
match to me, yeah.
So let's
So,
talk about Cody Solo.
oh god, yeah, please let's get this out. What are you thinking about this? Because you've been more attentive to SmackDown than me, so I feel like your opinion carries more weight right now. How are you feeling? The scales are tipped.
I mean, there was just a promo tonight where Solo referred to Roman as the weak tribal chief or something like that.
Okay.
And like Cody keeps on insisting that like he actually respected the tribal chief when Roman was the tribal chief, and he called Solo like a phony or a fake or something like that. Like he's pretty much the voice of the fans basically, where he's just kind of saying the shit to Solo that everyone in the crowd wants to say to him, that he's not the real tribal chief and stuff like that. And like I don't know, it would be way too early in my opinion to actually put the title on him, but I will say this is something you aren't privy to unless you've been online, because I know you didn't watch SmackDown tonight.
Yeah.
This is now a Bloodline Rules match.
Oh. Okay. Interesting.
But I really just think Cody's retaining here. I can't imagine they would put the title on Solo. I just can't. Like it's Solo sick. Like it's no, I just can't.
No, I get what you mean though, because like I think that encapsulates it. It's Solo Sokoa. I you know I do want to be nicer here because unlike the other world title match, they didn't do fucking racism. I think Solo is a solid competitor. I don't think he's trash by any fucking means. But I'm starting to see that I don't buy him as this main event character. I think you were on to something, bro, when you were saying the whole time that he's more of a Batista type. Like, I feel like if you wanted to make him a main eventer, he should have stood up to Roman at some point and been more of a babyface. I think that would have gotten over.
Yeah.
I think trying to make him like this tribal chief mafioso type where it's like I'm bringing in my own guys and we're fucking shit up. Again, you're not even the most interesting person in your faction. I fucking love Jacob Fatu. By the way, congratulations to him and Tama on their tag title win tonight.
Yeah, I fully
Um,
expect for SummerSlam to feel like an intentionally cheap feeling rip off of Roman Cody from this year's WrestleMania,
yeah,
where rather than, you know, John Cena and The Undertaker coming out to help, you get Randy Orton and Kevin Owens coming out to help. You know what I mean?
yeah, dude. Here's my conflict, right? Because I look at it one of two ways.
Sure.
One, you got to have Roman come back at some point,
Right.
but we're needing a lot of context. Does
I
he
will
come back?
say, I will predict that I do think this is going to be when Jimmy Uso comes back, and he's going to be maybe even the deciding factor. He might be the thing that costs Solo ultimately the title.
Yeah,
Because if you think about it, Solo has three guys on his side.
yeah,
He's got, the two Tongans and Jacob. And technically, Cody only has two. He could have four if the Street Profits wanted to show up, but I kind of doubt it.
right.
But I mean, fuck the Street Profit. You know what? They could even do that. They could even do it without Jimmy. The Street Profits could 2v1 Jacob.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
I'm just saying though,
Yeah,
like I feel like it's gonna feel very similar to WrestleMania, where you're gonna have a match that's gonna go like 15, 20, and then our first interference is gonna trigger a chain of interferences where one guy's gonna interfere, and then someone representing the other guy in the match is gonna come out to, stop them, and then another guy's gonna stop them. And it's gonna just be back and forth where we're gonna get entrances, like entrance music might even play, where people are gonna be coming out to stop Bloodline members from screwing over Cody, basically. It's going to be like everyone coming to Cody's rescue. And it's going to be the same names, though, that we've been seeing to come to Cody's defense for months at this point. It's going to be Kevin. It's going to be Randy. Probably the Street Profits. The one surprise they might pull out of their hat is the return of Jimmy. I really don't think that Roman is going to help Cody retain, but that doesn't mean he won't show up at all.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that you would have said this if you believed it was happening, but you know I like to be thorough. So I want to ask you real quick: do you think Hikuleo showing up on this show? Because there was a time that would have been absurd, but they're getting
No, you know
everybody.
what? I wouldn't write it off. It's just not something that really crossed my mind. But
Yeah,
those are the best debuts slash returns to me are the ones that don't cross my mind.
yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so here's ultimately where I stand. Because I started to say this earlier, but I'm glad that you really set the scene on your side. Because I agree with a lot of what you're saying. My fundamental conflict is this. On one hand, Solo, and I think the writing has really wanted to make his bloodline seem like scarier than Roman's in a way. Like, look at the heat we're packing. We got fucking Jacob Fatu of all people. That's a one-man wrecking machine. And I feel like there comes with like with that a lot of credibility and a certain aura that you may not want to jeopardize. Even though, again, I don't think Solo is the best fit for this type of main event character. I digress. So I don't really see how you have him lose, especially when it's a bloodline rules match where I feel like, I don't know, maybe he would take advantage of the stiff differently than Roman did. On the other hand, it's fucking Cody Rhodes. Like, he's the guy right now. This is his moment where he's the top guy. He's already 1-0 in bloodline rules matches, for God's sakes, because he beat Roman in that very match at Mania night too. So I don't know. It's like that kind of irresistible force, immovable object thing. Like, who gives to whom? Where does the give take place? And that's kind of where I'm struggling. Now, I do think you make a point about Jimmy. You could very easily protect Solo in a way. They didn't anticipate Jimmy. They didn't anticipate this one. And that's why Cody's able to sneak out with the win. Plus, I do agree with Pro Wrestling Bits, who you and I watch regularly. There are still feuds for Cody to do. I can't imagine they're not going to want to do Cody versus Orton for the title, because Orton could turn heel and blame him being attacked by Solo's bloodline on Cody. Like, oh, you could have done more, even though you've done vile shit for years, my dude. Like, you
Hmm.
really didn't see this coming. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, I could see that. It's the 101 stuff. Like, I mentored you, this and that. You were like a baby brother to me, and then you just let this happen to me. That kind of bullshit. And then we do Cody Orton. So I think ultimately I am going to side on Cody retaining, but I would not be surprised if they put the title on Solo here, just to really flex that Solo's bloodline is a force. And honestly, the sooner Roman comes back, the better. It's just kind of where I'm at with this whole thing. So I'm going to lock in Cody retaining. Who are you locking in? Just to make it explicit.
Also, Cody retaining. Yeah,
Excellent. There's consensus. Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Braun, Sammy
next
next.
up, yeah, let's talk about Sammy Braun.
I've had my fun, and I will continue to have my fun, for the record. Rooting for Braun and everything else, but Sammy is fantastic. Great promo, great baby face. I thought he made Braun look incredible at Money in the Bank. Sans Braun not going over, but I'm not going to put that on Sammy, obviously. Uh, I just want Braun to win here, but to be honest, you know, originally when I came on here, I wanted to kind of joke with you and get turned up and be like, listen, this isn't a Dolph Ziggler Rey Mysterio situation when they feuded for the Intercontinental title, where the guy with a lot of promise just never beats the veteran. That's not going to happen. But I am starting to wonder, do we have a Dolph Ziggler fucking Rey Mysterio situation where they feuded in, I believe, 2008, I want to say. And they had that great series of matches, including one at SummerSlam, oddly enough. But Dolph just never beat Ray. He always earned title shots, but then when it came time for the title, like, it never happened for him. I am wondering if Sammy's gonna pull this shit off again.
Can
It
I
really
ask you a
has crossed my
question?
mind. Yes, of course.
You look at Braun Breaker and you look at Dolph Ziggler. You tell me, are these two men the same?
No, absolutely not. Because one guy is looking to be face of the fucking company in an absolute unit, and the other guy could have been face of the company if WWE cared, but they didn't, and he never really reinvented himself besides dyeing his hair that one time, which lasted all of, like, what, 3 weeks.
Yeah,
So
because he looked
yeah,
too much like Randall.
yeah. Jesus Christ. So I am gonna go Braun winning here, but I'd be lying if I said it was a sure thing. I absolutely could
I
envision a
agree
world
that
where,
it's not a sure
yeah.
thing, but I'm also picking Bronathan.
Oh God, dude, that spear is gonna be girthy as fuck. and more than just the spear, for the record. This is the match. This is the match that when I think about why we do live reactions and what the content mill is, this is going to be me losing my fucking mind. I am so psyched for this dude.
You should turn
Yeah.
Crisp off for this.
Dude, absolutely. I hope nothing else is going on because obviously protecting the channel comes first.
Yeah.
But nah, bro. Like, I really hope so because I want to squee and lecture and do all my usual best bits and fucking turning up for this fucking shit. Because no, Sammy's been a great Intercontinental Champion, but you and I both are of the mindset not every title reign needs to be fucking long. Like, Sammy, I think, already did credibility to the belt by beating the guy that held it for 2 fucking years in Gunther. Like, it's okay. You did good. Pass it to Braun, and then Braun can have the next, like, long, dominant reign. And even then, I wouldn't go, like, 2 years long. Jesus Christ, we have things to do. But, yeah, I mean, he's an absolute tank. I'm hoping for a great fucking match. I'm expecting a great fucking match. And hopefully Braun just emerges the champion. So I'm locking it in.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have one match left. Rhea Liv.
Oh, God. That caterpillar-faced motherfucker is going to ruin everything.
I don't think Dom's actually, like, I don't think he has any actual official involvement in this match, but of course he's going to be at ringside.
Yeah.
He's going to do what he's been doing for Liv and accidentally, on purpose, help her retain.
Yeah. So wait, you think if he does that, like, he, how would I put this? Like, that Rhea just wouldn't get angry at him and maybe the relationship would become strained, but not outright severed. So when is the severance coming in your mind?
Here's my thing. The severance could happen at SummerSlam. I'm not going to deny that it's entirely possible that it could. And the main reason I say that is because of this whole thing with, like, Finn's bullshit about after SummerSlam we'll get our shit together. It's like, okay, so what does that mean is happening at SummerSlam? So that's entirely possible that Dom could actually just sabotage Rhea on purpose. Entirely possible. I'm not throwing that out the window as a possibility. I just feel like, on a personal level, in my opinion, there's so much more quality content to be milked from this angle and from this storyline that to rush to the story beat of Dom betraying Rhea for Liv already, it just feels way too soon. I feel like you have so much more juice left to squeeze.
I can respect that position. Absolutely. I think I'm just more
We haven't had a
pessimistic.
single segment yet of Dom asking Rhea to get him nuggies or tendies or asking her to call him daddy. We have to have this. We can't not.
Yeah. I don't think, though, I don't think that's going to happen. Because I think,
stab me in the heart and twist the knife, man.
I'm
Fuck.
sorry. I don't mean to hurt you. I think it's the writing that's hurting you. Because
You're right. You're right.
Because no, like when Dom, the closest we got to that was like, oh, you know, you don't belong to Jay, you belong to me, and Rhea shut that shit down real quick, like real quick.
Yes.
And then Dom really hasn't pushed the envelope.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like, I feel like there's so much left going on with the Jey Uso stuff too with Rhea. Oh God, I love how rich the story is here. I love it so much.
Oh, bro, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there's no question about that. Yeah, there is a lot of good stuff here. There's no question about it. I just worry that they are going to start to rush it a bit. Again, I'm more of a pessimist than you in that regard. Not saying that what you're saying is wrong logically. Like, I get everything you're saying and I agree with it. I just feel like WWE is going to want to go another way because really, now that we've already talked about Gunther Priest, I just see Judgment Day imploding on this fucking show and then just kind of reorienting towards maybe Finn being leader, maybe even Dom and Liv being leaders, which would be weird. But yeah, like, Dom's a heat magnet. We know that eventually the relationship with Rhea, who's one of the most overacts in the company, has to end. But that's the heart of the matter, right? Is when does it end?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I also see it because Liv in the lead up to this helped Dom beat Ray, you know, beat his dad. And then Dom could just be like, oh, well, I was returning the favor. Liv finally got to beat you. She is definitively the champion. And Rhea's just heartbroken. I will say another thing when we talk about all the potential of this angle. I need everybody to get over themselves about their reservations or apprehensions about intergender wrestling. I need to see Rhea versus Dom. Like Dom is the perfect cowardly chicken shit character, and I love his bumping and selling. I think that's the best aspect of his game because I loved his match with Gunther, where Gunther just treated him like a young fucking lion. I think Rhea can do the same, and I think the image of her giving a riptide to Dom would make that entire arena fucking explode. So I need that. I need an intergender Dom versus Rhea matchup. Hell, put that shit in a steel cage. Let him really suffer for it.
Yep.
Uh, so I think there's a lot of promise there
Dude,
that I'm
Rhea
absolutely
and
thrilled about.
Jay versus Dom and Liv. Yes, all of it. Mine.
Dude, absolutely, absolutely. And you know that the Terror Twins, Priest and Rhea are gonna want to do stuff. Can you imagine, dude? Like a fucking Gunther and Liv, or Gunther and Dom, because Priest may still chase the title for a little bit. Finn, I think, as a part to play, because I don't know, like I can't speak for you. I haven't stepped off the gas that Liv is actually genuinely interested in Finn, because I think we both agree she's still using Dom because he's, his character is written as, not too perceptive. I'll put it
She
that
might have
way.
been using everyone. She was using Dom emotionally to get to Rhea. She was using Finn sexually for funsies. You never know.
I mean, those abs, man. I am living on
Right?
that.
Finn
They,
definitely gives fuckboy vibes. As far as who in the Judgment Day most gives fuckboy vibes, it's got to be Phineas.
we haven't forgotten about Phineas's era on Twitter where he was like teasing putting baby oil on himself, and the gay
He
community fucking loved it.
he
Like,
loves posting thirst traps.
like gay icon Finn Balor, everybody. Fuck yeah. Oh man. No, but
Uh,
see though, that's
we
that's
love
why.
Finn, by the way, just to make that clear.
Oh my god, I was even gonna say, and that's why I love Finn Balor. I've loved Finn Balor a long time. If anything, this is my least favorite Finn Balor, just because I think I prefer him as like an asshole babyface, like he was in his second NXT
Aren't
run.
he and JD currently tag champs?
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh God, he could have chosen such a better partner. Oh,
God, that's the Gunther I miss too. Oh God, when he just kept it to the wrestling and he was Intercontinental champion. So which one of you is it gonna be? Him with the head, referring to JD, and I'm like, yes, yes, attack him on every conceivable level because he's trash.
his head is fucking huge, though.
Fucking, it has its own little fucking location marker on Google Earth, Google Maps. Fuck,
Has
like
its own
everything.
gravitational pull.
Yes, its own fucking zip code.
You throw a
God
wiffle ball up in the air near JD, and it starts rotating around his head.
God damn. So yeah, like no, I do think the faction's just imploding on this show, and in fact, maybe that's even going to be part of the writing here, where the Bloodline 2.0 further consolidates their power. Even though we're predicting Cody winning, I'm just looking at the alternative that Solo wins, whereas the Judgment Day falls apart. Because they're the two biggest factions in the company, and it would just be kind of a funny 180, like night and day kind of thing. Solo grows stronger, Judgment Day, though, has like kicked out Priest and Rhea, and I think anybody would agree that they get weaker with those moves.
Yeah.
But you know, so I'm locking in Liv retaining. It seems like you're also locking in Liv retaining, but I want
Yes.
to explicit. Okay, okay. So there we go.
That's our 7 matches. We did it. We're done now.
Crazies, yeah.
Yaysies.
I thinking about the further implications of this show, I think I am holding steady at that 8 out of 10, but honestly, if I was to make a change, it would be going down to your score, because you said 7.5 originally, right? For your
No, I
hype.
said 7 flat.
Okay, 7. I would say maybe it would dock half point 7.5, but I think I'm going to stick to my 8. Has your hype changed, or are you sticking to your 7?
I think I'm gonna stick with my 7 as well.
All right, that's fair. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Do you have any concluding remarks you want to make, Ashley, before I take us home?
Yeah, actually, I would. I really just want to say I'm very I don't want to necessarily just say intrigued because that doesn't really imply good or bad, but like part of me is kind of like I don't know. I have weird like negative feelings about how Bash in Berlin is going to end up going. I feel like it's not going to be good. I feel like I've got like an impending sense of doom about Bash in Berlin.
I don't blame you. I just worry because if Gunther wins the world title when he's taking his heel character in this direction,
Yeah.
is
And then shows up in Germany with this character. Oh.
Is Germany even going to want to cheer for that? And then, like, the people that do cheer for that they have to think about it, and they're like, I have to go to work tomorrow. My boss might see that. Might be questions.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, I don't know, man. It's we could have avoided so much of this, man. God damn it. But yeah, I don't blame you. We're just gonna have to see how it all shakes out. We're gonna have to see. But in the meantime, though, guys, join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I think we're just reacting to the whole SummerSlam show. We haven't really talked about, select matches or whatever. I think,
I mean,
it's a
dude,
big
if we were gonna do just select matches, would you skip any of them?
no, because I think even like for Super Bowl, I really do think LA Knight's gonna win. That would be the closest to a skip for me. But I think even that, like, I want to revel in Super Blues joy, share it with him, and see LA Knight hopefully become U.S. champion over that
Yeah.
piece of shit Logan Paul. So yeah, I think it's just wall to wall SummerSlam coverage. Yeah, bud. Yeah. So yeah, it's just gonna be wall to wall SummerSlam coverage, 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So be sure to join us there, guys. And then afterwards, we're gonna be doing an in review SummerSlam review. Should be a lot of fun, especially if like we're really turned up on this show positively or negatively, and then that carries over into the review. This shit sucked, or hopefully this shit was amazing. We'll have to see. So again, be sure to like the video as you file out, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of that wow goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And again, guys, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, SummerSlam live reactions, and immediately after, it's an in review, SummerSlam review, and then we're off Sunday. So yeah, be sure to join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Till then, be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.